Hey guys, in this episode, we're going to talk mostly about enumerators or enumeration type blueprints. And it's going to be a little bit different than all of the prior videos because in this video, I actually already have all of the results. So if you're following along in the last video, our action menu had text box, text box, text box, text box for each button. But now I'm going to use an enumerator to list those items, and it's going to be modular so we can update them as needed without hard references. So the reason it's recorded ahead of time or actually pre-configured ahead of time is because I ran into issues, which is funny because I thought this would be the simplest blueprint to implement. So let me just go ahead and showcase the demonstration of what I'm working on. So now once the time bar gets completely full, I have different buttons named attack, magic, item, and run, which is what we want. It no longer reads just text box, text box, text box, text box. And we do so through an enumerator. So I'm going to open up my, let's exit. I'm going to open up the content browser, content drawer. And what I did was in the blueprints folder, I created a new subfolder, enumerators. And you know what? What I like to do, because Google explains enumerators or enumeration better than I do, is a custom data type that provides a list of named symbolic values like idle, running, jumping, instead of raw numbers or text, making your blueprint and code much cleaner, readable, and less error-prone for managing states. It acts like a labeled drop-down menu. And there's a few most common things to use enumerators for. And I have a couple of tricks that I'll show you in just a moment. So I created this subfolder. I created this enumeration by right-clicking, type in enum. I click this, and then I creates this, and I named it E underscore. That's the naming convention, battle action button type. And when I opened it, this is what I want the buttons to display: attack, magic, item, and run. And the cool thing about this way is that I can continue adding them as needed and expanding them. I can do like, for example, Guardian Force or Summon or anything except for anything you can think of that has a name. The next thing I did was I need to implement this into the widget. So what I did at the event pre-construct level, which what this means is it runs and fires before pushing begin play. That's why we see the results here. It says attack rather than just saying text box. So still in this button, I created a variable called eBattle action button, and I selected the variable type as the battle action button type. And its enumerations are colored this green color, and then I made it instance editable. And by default, the default one is attack, or because it's at the first of the list. I don't think this is important for now. Well, actually it is, but it became more important in the next widget blueprint. One of the most common nodes to run off of enumeration is the switch button. So what that does is it allows you to drag off different commands for each name. So what I did is I grabbed the button text, which is over here in the designer, this action button that I created, which is just a button named action button and checked is variable. And for all of these, I set the text, set text, set text, set text, set text to run what I want it to display. For this one, I want it to display item and magic and attack. And then I align them with the execution node over here. So that's all that's here for the action button. And it gets more interesting over here in the action menu button. So for here, I made a blueprint I made the vertical box a variable and I clicked VB underscore actions, or typed vertical box underscore actions. So that's the only update to this blueprint, or the designer tab of the blueprint. And into the graph, I think the event graph only has a function that's called at the event preconstruct. Again, that way we can see it here. So this is our first function that we've used in this series. So what is build menu? Well, if I double click, it takes me to function build menu that we created. And we did that by clicking on a function, and I named it build menu. So because it's the first time we're covering functions in this series, let's type UE5, what is a function? A function is a reusable block of blueprint nodes that performs a specific task, organized in its own graph, allowing for inputs, processing, and returning outputs, without delays, promoting clean and organized and efficient code by avoiding repetition. Key features include its own scope, ability to pure or impure, and essential for code reuse. So the simplicity is in the event graph. At the construct, it's just a nice, simple build the menu. So let me open up the function, and how it reads is function build menu. The first step is to clear the children, and that's so that it's not, I forget the reason why, but why was the reason we start by clearing the children? I think so that it's not conflicting with other widgets or other action buttons as we start adding them. Maybe, for instance, we'll have, like I said earlier, summon and GF, but maybe we don't always use them. So in this case, the first step it's doing is clearing the children of that vertical box. And remember, the vertical box had all of these children under it. You can tell that by the arrow symbol. So we're flowing on down. And then we grab actually I can delete this. We grabbed a variable called available actions using our enumeration battle action button type. That's here, and we turned it into an array type. An array type, let's Google it. We haven't looked it up yet. UE5, what is array variable? An array variable is a single variable that can store a collection of multiple values, provided all values are of the same data type. This is distinct from a standard variable, which only holds a single value. So the purpose of making it an array is because we're going to use the node for each loop, which cycles through all of them. In our case, the array works because these are all variables, or these are all just names. So it's going to cycle through all of them, and it's going to create the widget with the array element connected to the battle action button. And we're going to get the get owning player, and then we're going to add the child to the vertical box. So that's it for this section. So of the vertical box, we're clearing it. We're cycling through all of the enumerations. We're adding it to the widget of the owning player or controller. And then from there, we're adding what's available in the widget to the child vertical box. And what threw me off for a bit here was inside the array, initially, I had no results displaying in the designer tab. These were all like blank buttons, or at least with no text. And the issue was because the array was here, but I did not set the available actions or the available enums here in the details panel of the variable. So basically, it became a little bit more complex than I anticipated, but we did it. When I push play now, we have our menu with different action items. In the next video, we're going to play with widget switchers. So that should be pretty good. Thanks, guys.